I have started a new project in my Friday night live sessions, and I am doing reverse collage in this American Churches book by David Miller. This is a beautiful, beautiful book, and it's huge. I have a hard time getting the entire book on my desk, on my work area. So I'm having no issue with working on the right side of the page as long as I clear off this side of my desk. But working on the left side of the page is going to be an issue because I'm going to have to somehow prop up this side of the book or let it fall over. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. On this side of my desk, there is another table cart issue, and, well, it's not working for me yet. So, that said, let's look at a couple pages that I did in my Friday Night Live. I'm just getting a start, and when I do the reverse collage in my live, about all I get done is painting out the areas on the page that I don't want. That's what reverse collage is all about, is keeping the image on your page that you want and painting out what you don't. Well, this is a beautiful book with huge pictures, and I'm leaving the pictures, but I'm adding my own art. About all that I'm painting out are the margins. I'm just expanding the color on these pages. And since this book is all about churches, I want to do stained glass applications in this book. So each one of these beautiful pictures, I want to convert in a Meri style stained glass page. Not that it's going to look like real stained glass, but that's beside the point. This is me using this beautiful art and converting it into my interpretation of a stained glass window. Now, I started on one in my live. Before I flipped to it, I want to tell you I was not completely happy with it because during my live sessions, I'm standing up. I'm using my fine line paint applicator, and it's hard for me to control where the paint flows out of while I'm standing up. I have more control when I'm sitting down. And I'm closer to my work, my hands, I just have more control over it. So before I flip to this page, I like the backgrounds that I paint on, especially after they're dry. When this paint is wet, I always question if it's working or not. But after it's dry, I come back and say, oh yes, this is what I wanted. It's dry, I can touch it, I'm happy with it, that's all I can say. Now, this is the first page that I did, and you can see my lines got very squiggly in here. Even by the time I started at this point down here, and by the time I got around to this point, I'm going, oh, this is not working for me. But I continued, and I did 3 arches. Now, I like the color. I did not really touch this area in here as far as the photograph goes because it's already stained glass. What I'm going to do is come back later and work with these bricks a little bit more. But I wanted to flip to this page because there are not a lot of stained glass pages. This is not a book about stained glass in churches. This is a book about churches. So I want to look at it and point out some of the characteristics of stained glass. They always have these bars, these big black bars and black dividing lines in here that separate the elements because it's holding the glass in place. And of course, stained glass is primarily basic, bright, bold colors. So I might play a little bit with that on some of these others. I don't know. I'm not sure. But on this one, I think I'm going, of course, I think I'll refine these arches a little bit more, and I'll play with putting in some brick lines. But I'm not going to work on that today. I'm going to work on this other one, this one. Now, this one is very segmented. you have this huge, beautiful, wonderful sky. You have this church off in the distance. And this is a church in Kansas. You have this wheat field, and you have this dark sky. It looks like a storm is coming up in the background. So what I'm going to do is, when I add my arches, I could do 2 arches, but I think I'm going to do 3 because I brought the sky out to the edge of the page. There's really no brick going on here. This is all field and sky. So I think I'm going to create 3 arches of different sizes. This arch will be a little bit smaller. This arch will be wide enough to contain the church. And then there'll be another arch over here. Well, this arch and this arch have nothing in them. There's some white cloud up in here. I like that play with the white cloud. There's a little bit of play with the white cloud here. So I want to emphasize the white cloud in the field over here. I might bring down and put some black right in here. That was the margin of the page. This was really white margin here. I might use that as like a black bar. I want to keep and maybe emphasize this white cloud and maybe the dark cloud and the wheat field over here. So I probably will not be adding much to it. And here I want to emphasize the church and highlight that in my interpretation of stained glass. But over here, where I have a lot of paint swipes out here, is where I'm going to do most of my art play. And what I have is, I was working on the background drop paper on my desk here. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to convert this into prompt cards, but that's for another project. But look at all this gold and blue. Well, as a part of doing that, I have this. This is a piece of wax paper. I had put gold and blue on there and did the Shannon Green technique. I have this, and I have a piece of copy paper that has greens and blues on it. So I might play with collaging, and I don't want to do a lot of collage in this book. So I'm not sure. We'll see. Will I end up breaking the binding on this book? I might. I might end up removing each page and rebinding it. I don't know. At this point, I'm just going to go where my muse takes me. And on this page, I'm going to do most of my art here. I want to emphasize the church here, and I want to work with the clouds. I love this big, if you know Kansas, if you've ever been through Kansas and parts of Nebraska, there are these beautiful, beautiful skies. I mean, you can see forever. And I'm not sure I want to, oh, looks like there's a farmhouse way off in the distance, right there. But this sky, it's dominant. I might just go through and just add some stained glass shapes in here. We'll see. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to go into fast forward, and I'm just going to have fun with this. Entire book is going to be converted into Meri's interpretation of stained glass. And a true stained glass artist would probably cringe, but I don't care. This is Meri playing in an altered book. Okay, that's it for today. I can't do any more to this until all this wet paint dries. This is just the very basic. There are some things in here that I think I want to work on more. There are some things in here that I want to bring out. Right now, you're probably cringing like, what is she doing to this beautiful book? I'm having fun in it. I'm altering it for an art journal. So just hang with me for a little bit. Let's see what happens in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next page.